In 1943, an American psychologist named Alfred Maslow introduced something he called the hierarchy of needs. This hierarchy outlined 5 core things that every human needs, from food to creative expression. And while these needs are still relevant us today, we now have a second self, a digital, online self with unique needs and routines. Understanding the core needs of the online self, particularly as it pertains to the sourcing of information on goods and services, is key to transcending Google's search engine algorithm race. When we turn to the internet in search of information, we have specific wants, including speed and accuracy. In the past, it was decently easy to have these wants realized, considering, of course, that the slow speed of dial-up was a marvel for its time. Finding a helpful answer in the first 10 or so results of a Google search was a reasonable ask. But this has changed over time. Google's continued algorithm adjustments generate scores of SEO professionals claiming there are new best practices. Plus, Google itself makes it murky and doesn't really tell us how its ranking algorithm really works, which pushes concerned businesses to spend money on paid ads, the ones that always go on top of the search engine results pages. But what if I told you that this hype cycle wasn't actually real? Search engines, namely Google, which sets the tone for all others, are not in the business of helping people find information. They're in the business of making money. When they change their algorithm or page layout, the end goal is profit. Ads go at the top of a search results page. Google sells ads. AI is touted as the magic solution to creating content at scale. Google has a paid ad product. How convenient. But here's the thing. When it comes down to it, even though Google's goal is to make money, its core product still functions as a portal for information. If you truly provide valuable info in any format, you can appear at the top of search results, even if you don't pay Google for ad space or a Gemini AI license. You just need to address a searcher's core needs. The searcher's hierarchy of needs addresses the 6 core things that a website needs to provide to its potential users. If you work toward these 6 things, your content will have the ability to not only rank well in search results, but to persist in its rank, even as AI-generated, low-value content comes and goes around it over time. The hierarchy contains 6 parts. 1. Accessibility. 2. Comfort. 3. Readability. 4. Connectivity. 5. Privacy. 6. Trust. By starting at the bottom with accessibility and working your way up to trust, you can achieve the ultimate goal of true trust and engagement with your audience, which leads to higher conversions through organic search. Let's talk a little bit about what each part of this pyramid means. 1. Accessibility. The entire search experience starts with a need to access your site and content. If this site is blocked from search engines, is tough for a human to navigate, or cannot be browsed by someone using a screen reader, nothing else you do will have an impact. This is why each time I work with one of my stress-free SEO strategy clients, I start with a complete site audit. Before we begin implementing any optimization techniques, we need to make sure that their site is structured with good information architecture principles in mind. This means that people can easily navigate the site and the way the content is structured makes sense. We need to make sure it can be accessed by search engines. Is there a sitemap? Has that sitemap been submitted via Google Search Console? These are things I look for. I also make sure that their site can respond to different devices and that it looks nice and loads nicely on a phone or a tablet. And it must be readable by both human eyes and assistive technologies. People and assistive devices like screen readers need to be able to access and read the content. This means using true text, that's text that's not in an image, and color contrast to keep words easy to read. Both the technical site audits that I provide and an accessibility audit, which I don't provide but know people who do, are important when building a site that ranks well and delivers information to people. If you're interested in assessing your site's human and computer access on your own, check out the A11 project. They have a straightforward checklist that you can use to audit the technical accessibility of your site. And also look at the W3C Web Accessibility Initiative. They have great guidelines on how to bake accessibility-focused tasks into your marketing team's work and roles. The second stage in the searcher hierarchy of needs is comfort. Searchers also need to be comfortable with your site and its content. This doesn't mean we can't challenge a searcher or their beliefs. We absolutely can. Providing information that goes against what someone expected or thought they wanted can be an important part of both individual growth and building a trusted relationship with a user. What comfort means in this context is that we need to meet searchers on their level in terms of language, complexity, and examples. This means we understand the intent of the person searching for a particular topic. We use examples and illustrations that are aligned with our audience's industry or experience, and we explain things clearly. We're not giving away the secret sauce, but we're also not hiding away real answers in favor of a contact us to learn more on every single article. Third, we need to focus on readability. While we want searchers to be topically comfortable with what we're talking about, we also need to make sure that the text is truly readable. Unless you're writing to a PhD level audience, it's best to err on the side of keeping the reading level lower. I always refer back to my journalism training here. The goal was to keep stories in the 5th to 8th grade reading level range. So when you're creating content for your website, you need to strive for an appropriate reading level. If you're not sure what that is, you can use tools like ClearScope, which will give you a suggested reading level. But again, if you aren't sure, shoot for no higher than an 8th grade reading level complexity range. You want to limit unnecessary jargon that may not be accessible to all persons interested in the topic. And you want to also use the appropriate schema markup to make your page content more readable right in the Google search engine results page. This can include tagging FAQs, authors, company information, and more. The 4th stage of this hierarchy is connectivity. We want people to land on our site through search engine results, but that's only one part of the process. What happens once they're on our site? Ultimately, we want to keep them on the site as long as possible. Yes, this can lead to greater conversion levels, but it also helps to cement your content and brand as a trusted source in a searcher's mind. Your content may bring new questions to the forefront as they're browsing, and you want to make sure that you're providing answers, ideally ones that are also on your site. It's important to make sure each new page on your website has links to and from other pages on the site. These are called internal links. You never want to put links in the first paragraph of the text. You want to hook the reader before you offer up the option to go to another page. And be very selective about the external links you place, keeping the ratio of text to external links fairly low. 1 or 2 external links per 500 words is a good ballpark. This way you're giving them supporting information, but not constantly sending people off of your website. And finally, make sure all of your links, internal and external, automatically open in a new tab versus loading in place of your content. The 5th stage is privacy, because it's also important to remember that part of building a relationship with searchers means respecting their privacy. This is often overlooked in the marketing world, as countless trackers and tags are the name of the game. After all, if you can collect data from users, why wouldn't you? Actually, there are a few reasons not to. 1, too many tracker tags and plugins can actually slow down a page on your site and make it harder for readers and search engines to access the content. 2, searchers are becoming much more aware of data collection thanks to cookie notices mandated by GDPR and tracking warnings in the Apple iOS ecosystem. By showing you're not collecting excess data and being clear about how you're using anything you do collect, you can further cement yourself and your content as a trustworthy resource. And finally, we're all drowning in data. Seriously. There are so many data points collected by tools like Google Analytics and Hotjar that it can become a real chore to sift through everything. You actually only need a few basic metrics, which I explain further on my website, to optimize your content and learn about your customers. Complete user flows and heat maps aren't actually essential for a lot of the tasks and goals that you want to achieve. Finally, trust. Ultimately, the 5 components that we've discussed all lead up to building trust with the searcher. This is the pinnacle of the hierarchy of needs. And this core thing, trust, that everyone seeking information online really wants, you can give it to them by providing answers and resources that they can rely on to be correct. If you felt frustrated with your own Google search results lately, it's not all in your head. Google results have indeed gotten worse over time. While search engine companies try to remove spammy AI-generated content, it's created so quickly that it continues to appear in search results for so many terms. But this doesn't mean your content can't be found. It can. Too many people are throwing in the towel and assuming that low-quality, AI-generated content is the only thing that can rank these days. That leads to fewer human-crafted, high-quality pieces existing. And if those don't exist, they certainly can't show up in search results. But why does this all work? Simply put, most people and businesses aren't thinking about the end user when creating website content. Oh, sure, they're thinking about the end user in terms of someone purchasing something from them, but their end goal is quick conversion, not building up a presence as a reliable resource. The thing is, though, that if you focus on becoming a reliable resource, that's the trust portion of the hierarchy, then you have the chance to gain higher value, longer lasting customer spend than if you're simply trying to grasp at everything that could possibly stick. Here's an example. I was recently searching for information about how many arm strokes an intermediate swimmer takes when they swim 25 meters. This is a pretty straightforward question, one that could even be answered in the featured snippet in a search result. Instead, though, I got several results that were long blog posts about all sorts of quote-unquote swimming questions, and the answers were terrible. It was clear that many of the questions answered throughout this whole search engine results page were AI slop. I clicked on one that contained sections such as, can you swim with banana peels on your feet? And the blog post never actually answered my question. For what it's worth, the answer is 17 to 20 strokes per 25 meters, and no, shockingly, you cannot swim with banana peels on your feet. Yes, that company got to report that their page ranked well in the SERP and got some clicks, including mine. But I'd venture to guess that their bounce rate, which is the frequency that someone leaves your website right after entering it, is very high. And their conversion rate, I think they were selling a swimming planner app, is incredibly low. And in case you're wondering why their AI-generated content talked about banana peels on your feet, it's an interesting side note. It seems like it's very out of left field at first, but it's not. And there's a reason this happened. So if you're a swimmer and you experience foot cramps while you swim, a lot of times the recommendation, which is discussed online, including on forums like Reddit, is to eat a banana before you swim. This gives you a boost of potassium and can in turn help reduce those pesky foot cramps. So there's content online talking about eating bananas to help stop your feet from cramping. And whatever generative AI tool this company used, it was trained on vast swaths of internet content, but its algorithm couldn't make the differentiation between eating a banana to help your feet and placing a banana on your feet. So it put together bananas, feet, and swimming, but without any of the actual context. And this is a problem that results from generative AI's predictive, not creative programming. So if you plan to use AI to write or outline your content, be very careful. You want to make sure that you're using a predictive tool like AI to maybe help you organize your own thoughts, not try to create net new ideas. And if you're writing about something that you're not an expert in, it's very important that you fact check it, lest you wind up with an article similar to what our banana foot swimming friends had in my search results. So let's say you do this. Let's say you follow the searcher's hierarchy of needs. What kind of results can you see? Well, lower quality content may come and go around you, but as long as your content is valuable and up to date, you can still rank well in search results. The CEO of a website called Collaborator, they make a tool for helping websites get good high quality links. He did an analysis of how AI-generated content performs over time. And he found that posts that were touted by maybe the makers of an AI tool or someone selling a course, while posts that were touted as ranking really well right away, he found that they didn't maintain this rank over time. In fact, it dropped off really rapidly. Even if AI-generated content pops up to the top of the SERP at first, its performance won't stick around. And you can pop over to my website to see slides from this study that was done, and it's very interesting to see what he grabbed. On the other hand, though, if we look at content that I've written using the searcher hierarchy of needs, we can see two things. One, the content still rises to the top of search results quickly on healthy domains. For example, I have a client who I've been working with, and all of the content that I've published since mid-January 2025 has maintained consistent rank in the top 10, with an average position of spot number 5 on the Google SERP. And a lot of these pieces land in the top 3 spots within days after publication, including at position 0, which is the featured snippet or increasingly the AI overview. And second, this content lasts at the top of the SERP. So I have another client who I've been working with for years, and I can look back at content that I wrote in 2021, and now, 4 years later, that content is consistently in spot number 1. At its lowest point, there were a couple months where it dipped down to number 3, but it's almost always been in spot number 1 for almost 4 years. Yes, this content has been updated for timeliness and accuracy as technology related to the topic has changed, but the core text of the article is the same. And when AI overviews rolled out, that content also moved into position 0, being cited in the AI overview, as well as maintaining its hold on traditional spot number 1. So ultimately, low quality content, it's an unreliable way to rank long term. You might get some very quick, very flash in the pan wins, but you're not going to be able to build any kind of lasting, successful content strategy. Instead, you'll be stuck in a continual cycle of content churn, which is exhausting and ultimately expensive. But if you're willing to take the time to work through the 6 steps in the searcher hierarchy of needs and create content that's by and for humans, you can and will achieve lasting, reliable, long-term high rank in Google search.